Hey cunts and cuntettes, welcome back to your favourite gaming robots channel whose avatar had to go through a little change due to Midway Games suing for a little copyright infringement from using one of their characters. Get ready for the unveiling of the new and improved avatar to be used for this channel. Oh boy, this is going to be a good one, not going to be a disappointing reveal at all. Look, it only looks terrible because I spent all my budget on the game I'm looking at today, which is a blatant ripoff of one of my favourite games, Anubis II. Just kidding, these games belong to a shovelware group that was made by Data Design Interactive and are basically reskins of one another to maximise profit. Ninjabread Man, which is what a diabetic's worst nightmare would look like, and the game I'll be looking at this video, was the most popular of the four games, so any criticism thrown at this game would be applied to those as well. Though the title and box art of the game make it seem like a worthwhile purchase, getting past the main menu will quickly make the presumption that this will be a decent experience crumble away faster than Augustus Gloop's legs trying to support his weight. Whilst I could call the main character the Ninjabread Man, I'm instead going to call him Gingy for convenience sake and because they use a picture of the character Gingy from Shrek in the load file screen. The controls for Gingy are so half-baked that this sweet snack of a protagonist is probably uncooked in the middle, which explains why he slides off ledges occasionally because he's half liquid. The PC version is particularly terrible because all the controls are mapped around the arrow keys, so you'll be hunched over just like the people who bought the game on release were hunched over crying. You'd think you could simply reassign the keys, but that's not an option, nor do you have the ability to use the mouse. I mean, what kind of company doesn't have mouse implementation in a 2005 game? Oh, I have already been sued by another corporation lately. I better stop while I'm ahead. It seems the universe is telling me I better continue shitting on them and their coin milking business practices. I played the PC and PS2 version of this game, but not the Wii version to avoid the aneurysm the motion controls would cause me, although I have included Wii footage spliced throughout this review. The two versions I played are identical, but there are a few differences between those versions and the Wii version, which are improved graphics and a tutorial level for the Wii. The order of the levels are also different, but there's only 3 levels, so you'll finish this game faster than it takes to eat a fun-sized chocolate bar. Graphically, this is an eye candy both for 2005 and 2007 standards, because yes, this was released 2 times. While it's not horrible to glaze upon, it's still barely passable like the shit you do after binge eating sweets. Gameplay wise, there isn't much variety to sink your teeth into, as the same objective is present for the whole game. Collect 8 power rods to power the teleporter to get to the next level. The use of the double jump is a necessity, as you always seem to miss platforms with a single jump, and performing an awkward little run before jumping ensures you have the best chance to make most jumps, presuming the controls don't fuck up. Enemies consist of a variety of sweet buns and bees because they were featured on the cover and I guess they felt obliged to add them. Gingy can use his samurai sword to attack enemies, as well as an unknown projectile which automatically locks onto enemies when in range. Killing enemies drops a heart that flies away quicker than the time it takes to complete the game. Repeated use of the ranged attack makes it do more damage, and if you aren't level with the enemy, the projectile gets thrown straight into the ground. Maybe if you'd lay off the sweets, you'd have the upper body strength to throw something further than a few meters. Well, perhaps Gingy wouldn't be eating sweets, because I think that would be cannibalism in this world. After completing each level, additional modes are unlocked when playing them again. The score pickups mode sees you collect candy around a level, and hidden pickups is essentially the same mode with the candy hidden. The amount of candy you need to pick up is increased with the scaling of difficulty. The last mode is time attack, which sees you replay the level only on a time limit and only with 1 life to do it with. That's all there is to talk about with this game, so I think I should elaborate on the other games I mentioned earlier. This game was meant to be the next in an uncommonly known 2D platforming series called Zool, which sees the titular character go to different themed worlds on his quest. Data Design Interactive made a game that tried to reimagine the series as a 3D platformer, but the publishers of the Zool series were disinterested with the presented product. So Data Design split this creation into 4 games like a Kit Kat bar, and since these were essentially the same game, many people had misinterpreted them as being copycats of one another. These games, which are of course this one just discussed, previously mentioned Anubis II, Mythmakers Trixie and Toyland, and Rock'n'Roll Adventures, were released between 2005 and 2007, with most of them being released twice to capitalize on the popularity of the Wii. This business model is probably one of the most scummiest things I've seen a developer do to make money, because the Wii's consumer base of mostly children could easily be duped into buying this garbage by its cutesy packaging alone. Ninjabread Man is the video game equivalent to a bad cavity, and while it isn't the worst gameplay wise, the shady business practices surrounding it just leave a bad taste in your mouth like a natural sugar-free lolly. It just doesn't last long enough for me to start getting that frustrated about it, and at the very least it wasn't sold as a full price game on release. I do not let business practices distort my perception of a game, however, so Ninjabread Man lands here on the list based on its merits alone. You just got groped by the Pope, so like to undo. Yeah, let's keep going.